Hi, John Lay here from Talented Learning. Welcome back to another episode of the Executive Briefing Series. On this series, we're fortunate to travel the world virtually and learn about the best learning technology and learning systems vendors in the world. And with each, we learn about their business, their history, their product, their solution, their differentiators, their target market, and then we dig deep into a demonstration and watch those differentiators come to life. Today on our tour, our stop is Schoox. Schoox is a global enterprise learning management system provider. Schoox, it's all yours.
Thank you, John. Today I would like to take you through just a little bit about who we are, and then we'll kind of talk about just Schoox as a company, Schoox as the employees, the spirit, the vibe, the kind of our vision, our mission, and then we'll pivot over into the product and take a very high level tour through the product. I've got a couple of slides prepared to kind of take us through the first part of it. So we'll just dive right in.
Okay.
Schoox is a learning and talent development platform, and I think it's important that that I articulate that. So we are an LMS at our core, and learning is the center of our universe, but we also we're very specific about our intention to wrap in that development side of the learning and development equation and making sure that we're tackling some of those broader problems that oftentimes learning is faced with. So we've created a solution that helps really organize the technology and the way the work tends to get done. But we started in 2012, and as of today, we are sitting at more than 1,600 customers, over 13.5 million users in the ecosystem. Our platform is used in more than 120 countries. We have the user experience available in, actually I could update this now, it's 30 languages and growing. And we also have a content marketplace where we work with a couple of content providers to make on the shelf or off the shelf content available to any of our customers as a kind of add-on service, and there's 15,000 courses out there and growing. At Schoox, we really do believe that learning is deeply human and that knowledge can change the world, and so we try to always keep that in top of mind in the things we do, the things we say, just to help us honor that part of our vision. And with that, we believe that through leveraging Schoox, we will not only help transform the learning that happens in your business into growth, but it's also our intention to help your entire workforce learn more, connect deeper, adapt faster, and perform better through collecting all of the activities in Schoox and organizing things in the way that we do. Helping the organization to find ways to tear down the silos, whether it is learning modality. We support kind of the spectrum of options that are available, but we also make it very easy for that social, that informal learning to take place within the solution, allowing for people to connect to experts, connect to one another, share insights, share thoughts, share best practices, because we know a lot of times learning does happen in that way, and in many cases learning that happens that way it tends to stick a little more. In addition, by kind of taking all of that into account, we really allow your organization to connect on a deeper level, tearing down some of the geographic silos that exist. In 2020, I think we saw a lot of that geography kind of move out of the obstacle path, as it were, and everybody kind of being displaced into a virtual world. We're seeing a lot more of that connection take place, but we felt it's really important to make that happen inside the learning solution, because for many businesses, the learning solution is the only solution that 100% of the population has access to. So why not make it a place where they can also connect with each other and kind of help strengthen the bonds in the organization that will help improve performance. We have a very dynamic patent pending organizational structure management module underlying the system. It's really like one of the magic things about Schoox, and that really does allow for the solution to grow as your business grows. You can flex and change and adapt very quickly. A lot of our customer organizations across various industries will have restructures that take place. Sometimes it's acquiring new businesses, divesting businesses, or just cleaning house and kind of restructuring the business so that it works on paper the way it works in practice. And oftentimes that can be a very disruptive thing. It can really just tank all of the things you've done because you've been piping data from the HRIS into all your other solutions. And we'll just say sometimes those things aren't always as flexible as you need. But within Schoox, we make it really easy for those things to take place. You can extend and extrapolate the data in limitless ways to allow the system to really support adapting as your business changes. And by doing all of these things, kind of putting all of these things together, combined with our added focus on that broader talent development space, so kind of getting into performance and goals and skills and competencies, through that, we really can unlock the potential for the organization, both at an employee level as well as a department and an organizational level, greater performance. When people are learning what they need to learn, when people are connecting and kind of your culture is extending into that technology space, it changes the engagement, it changes the commitment from employees and organizations, and we see all of those things really just lead to greater performance. Now, a bit just kind of about us and who we are. I wanted to make sure that we were able to touch on our company values. These values are as much internal as they are external. For each one of these things, we do look at them in both contexts. It's important for us to understand how we as an organization interact with one another, that we're all aligned to these shared core values, but also that these things extend out to our customers. It's critical in our minds to make sure that we're aligned in that way. And so what you see here reflects not only our values to us and our promise to each other, but our promise to our customers as well. From a brand perspective, just a little bit about kind of who we are and some additional, we'll call it marketing language to help connect to some of those core concepts within Schoox. Again, we do aim to transform learning into business growth and ensuring that your employee population is able to learn more, connect deeper, adapt faster, and perform better. But when we look at the brand attributes, again, this really sort of brings forward our culture, who we are as people, what we want to put out to the world. We are an empathetic group of people. We strive to be original. We innovate at lightning speed. We always try to keep things fresh. We make sure that we are surrounded by depth and knowledge, not only in our functional areas, but also in the areas that matter to our customer. We try to make sure we understand what the realm of learning is facing as pains, what the realm of performance and goals are really facing as pain points, and try to make sure that we're inquisitive to understand not just our perspective, but our customers' perspectives so that we can bring practical solutions to the table. And we do that with passion. Our passion is at 200% at all times. When we think about our target kind of customer, we do have our smallest customers at about 7 employees, and our largest one is north of 400,000 employees. So we really do have the ability to scale. We can fit any organization, but where we really see magic happen is when an organization has more than 500 employees. We see the maturity of the learning function being one in which they can really start to leverage all the power that Schoox offers. And when we think about industries, again, we're a very flexible, very adaptable, and scalable solution. So we're in about 50 industries today, but we really do find that we are exceptionally well tailored for restaurant, hospitality, retail, construction, real estate, grocery. There's a lot of common variables there. Organization structure, we think about the complexities of franchise or association type models, very distributed workforces, very, very complex challenges from a data management perspective. We do some really magical things there. And we also have found great favor with finance, insurance, transportation, the electric, oil and gas, consumer services, and manufacturing as well. So again, we will be more than happy to talk to any customer in any industry whatsoever. These are the areas where we've just started to uncover. We do some pretty spectacular things that are unique to those industries.
What's the common thread, Matthew, in the secondary industries, which makes you compete strongly there? Your ability for organizational and compliance management, or is it more than that?
It's a little more than that. I mean, that's definitely a piece of it. So from a compliance perspective, we do some fun things that make compliance really easy to manage. But I think we also see that hierarchy management, that org structure, data management really serve those secondary industries very well, because you can have unlimited numbers of structures in place, and each of those structures can have purpose. You know, when we think about distributed workforces and physical, maybe plant locations or local offices, and how that's kind of different than that corporate entity, it follows a lot of the same footprint and some of the same challenges as the franchise or the association models do. So there's just the ability to really flex to allow an employee to wear 7 jobs and 7 different business units and have all of those needs really manifested and met through the solution.
I see. Thank you.
With that, I've got like 1 or 2 slides here that really just kind of paint the edges of the solution, as it were, and then we can pivot and dive right in to take a look.
All right.
In fair warning, I think trying to demo the product, I might be the wrong person to demo it in a short period of time, because I'm very passionate, both as a practitioner and as a Schoox employee, and I could probably talk to you for about 10 hours. But I'll do my best to make it brief.
What's your favorite parts? Your favorite parts?
So what we're looking at here on screen really reflects the total solution in its current form. So in our world, we do believe that learning is the center of the universe. And so we wanted to make sure that we found ways to connect everything through learning. What you see surrounding that learning in the center is really all of the collections of functionality that we offer. Internally, we refer to them as modules, but it is not a pay per module approach. It is when you purchase Schoox, you get access to all of this, and you have the opportunity to turn on and off each of these things with kind of an easy button, so that when it's time to leverage it, you just flip the switch on. There's no extra cost, no extra fees, no extra integrations. It's just there. And because it's all rooted in learning, as you're continuing to build learning data and learning activity and learning history, it serves all of these other areas very nicely. And so we think about kind of branching from learning into that performance and goals. The bridge there is really the skills, the underlying skills management feature within the system that allows you to connect skills and competencies into your learning, connect those on the other side to maybe your courses, connect them to jobs. And as you're assessing people against those things, we start to uncover more about your strengths, your opportunities. We can see that at an organization level, and we start to help manage positive impacts on performance. We support the traditional performance review experience, whether it's formal, informal, annual, quarterly, monthly, anniversary based. We do the performance review experience quite nicely, and we allow you to incorporate a skill assessment. We allow you to kind of take what you're already doing and add to that the ability to also bring goals to the equation. We do have a standalone goals experience that allows you to create and manage goals throughout the organization, whether it's department level goals, whether it is company level goals, individual goals. A nice experience that you can leverage to organize your thoughts, organize your work, and again, all with the intention of trying to help drive maximum value for the organization. In addition, you can relate some goals to your learning. So as we create goals and cascade them through the organization, we can attach learning activities as suggestions or as defined assignments, so that we're helping people feel supported in their journey through goal attainment.
Matthew, can goals go broader than learning then? And what would an
Yes.
example of that be?
So the goals management feature of Schoox at its core is just a traditional goals management. So the goal itself is defined by you, by your organization, how you choose to organize them. We've got customers defining sales goals and KPI type goals, but they're also kind of getting more, I'd say, more granular and also using the solution to start to define career goals. And it gives essentially we're talking about giving you a place to define a goal you want to drive toward regardless of the discipline or functional area. And then with that, you've got the added ability to associate kind of reference information or supplemental information that can help you connect it back to learning.
Okay, thank you.
We then have the career development experience, which is kind of an offshoot of the learning and skills interaction. Through the career development, as we are learning more about your skill strengths, your skill opportunities, we're able to then provide you with a learning path that is dynamic. It changes every time your skill valuation changes, so that the system is helping you understand based on your job, based on the skills tied to your job, based on your current vantage point, whether you are extremely strong or you have a lot of opportunities. The system will dynamically serve up courses in context of your job, specific to your skill strengths, not a one size fits all. So just because you all have the same job code, sure, there's some foundational learning that needs to take place, the traditional courses and curricula get assigned, but we believe that the way to move the needle on performance is by really understanding what your individual strengths and opportunities are at that skill level to help really fill in those gaps. So career development is reflective of that for us.
Interesting.
We then move around into social collaboration. So we've got a kind of Facebook inspired experience that we refer to as the wall. We'll take a look at that in our demo. And in that area, you can see automated posts. So, whether or not we've got like courses that are new courses introduced, people are kind of receiving badges or recognition for various things and accomplishments in the system. All of those things can curate onto the social area. In addition to people can just post things like you would on Facebook or LinkedIn. I can share links and documents and videos, and people can like my comments. They can interact and comment on my posts. We have customers that use this as a one-way channel for communicating kind of broadcast messaging and company-centric communication. And we have others that use it as a very dynamic two-way street. And we also have a way to kind of isolate in more granular fashion by creating groups, which are our collaboration channels. Within groups, you also have that feed style experience like a Facebook, but you can also add to that the ability to create a content library for a group, create badges and recognition for members of a group, and spin up discussion threads. So we have experiences where people are using that group experience as cohorts to extend learning. We have the kind of communities of practice, ask the expert type experiences. So there's a million different ways you could use them, but the underlying structure is really based on a membership based experience. Define who the audience is, bring them together, and then give them a safe space to exchange ideas and collaborate. We have a content management experience and a fairly robust content curation experience from an LMS perspective. Within our content library, we allow you to store all your files. So all of the documents and files that feed into learning, whether it's SCORM or video or PowerPoint or PDFs, the list kind of goes on, but you can store those things, version control them. You can then curate courses from your content library, managing the versions there, allowing you to kind of ripple changes. If a piece of content changes, you can ripple it instantly into all the courses where it's referenced. But you also can leverage that same experience for non-learning information. A lot of our customers will use the content library to organize their learning files, but they'll also use it as a way to make sure all the employees have access to all the relevant information. Again, because a lot of times the LMS is the one system that all employees have access to with an active, intentional presence. It's just another outlet to make sure they have access to relevant policies and documentation and other supplemental information that can help strengthen their tenure with your organization. And then lastly, learning without measurement, learning without analytics is underwhelming. So we do have a business impact engine, and what that allows us to do is bring in your business metrics. So you can identify KPIs that are most important to your business that align with the learning strategy, and we can, through this business impact engine, start to visualize any correlations between learning activities and impact on those KPIs. We've had customers really do some fun things with this to understand whether or not, as an example, a manager or leadership development program had a direct correlation with a decrease in employee turnover or an increase in employee satisfaction with managers. So really being able to understand what kind of correlation there is between your learning and those key business metrics, and then being able to use that information to fuel a really healthy fact-based conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, before we turn the page into the solution itself, for a quick tour, a couple of our key differentiators. You've heard some of these things come through over the course of our time together, but customer focus is top for us. And I know there's thousands of solution providers in the space, and everybody kind of says the same things. And we understand it's because we're all very passionate. We all have that sort of intention. But when you speak to our customers, when when we survey them to understand what we're doing right and what we could do better, the one thing that we always hear consistently is, Schoox is an extension of my team. My employee population doesn't understand where the team of people in learning at our company stops and where Schoox, the vendor, provider, partner of the solution, starts. And it's because we're trying to really make sure we understand the businesses that our customers are running, understand the dynamics, and try to understand their actual pain points so that we can really hear them and put those things into action. And that leads me to the second differentiator there, which is our innovation. As I mentioned, we innovate at the speed of light. So we are a continuous development and deployment shop. And what this means is when we hear pains from our customers, we set out to curate a roadmap of our vision for the product. We are constantly looking to the future, trying to understand the trends ahead, kind of what's around the corner. But we also understand that if we have a rigid process that does not allow us to flex quickly, our customers have a pain now, and us solving it 12 months from now doesn't help them. So our innovation practices really help us to make sure we're addressing customer pain points as close to the moment of pain as possible. The org structure that we talked about, you heard me mention, it's one of my absolute favorite things about what we do at Schoox. It helps us really ensure that this platform is flexible, because your organization changes every day. Every time a new person comes in, every time a person changes jobs, every time somebody takes a breath, the organization changes in micro ways, and sometimes it gets bigger. But as I mentioned, a lot of times it's those kinds of changes that often create a domino effect. The HRIS doesn't like to handle flexible data. It's really designed for a different purpose, but that system is often the feeder to a lot of other solutions. And so we don't allow for our customers to really be shackled by what happens in the HRIS. We take that as a base, and we can extrapolate that in limitless ways to make sure that your organization's day-to-day needs are met in how people interact with one another. And then that leads us down to that adaptability. So as I mentioned, small organizations to giant organizations, we can meet you where you are, adapt as you grow, and grow with you. Any questions about that before I switch gears and try to fast track us through a high-level demo?
No, it sounds like you guys got your head screwed on straight, focusing on customers and innovation and adaptability and trying to add measurable value to your clients. Can't ask more than that. Can't wait to see it.
We're trying to do all those things all day, every day. So without further ado, I will jump right here into the solution. And
I'm going to
when
turn
I
my
first,
camera up so we can get a
okay,
good screen here of this.
I'll do the same just so we're
Get maximum. Everybody wants to get
there.
their
We go.
glasses off. There we go.
So when you first log into Schoox, what you're going to see here is the home page, and the home page is flexible and dynamic. It's constructed of any number of gadgets that we make available so that you can really tailor the experience to what you need, whether it's looking at creating a different administrator and manager experience or creating a different employee experience. The intention is to allow the homepage to be the jumping off point, the portal, the quick access, so that you don't have to click around a whole lot to find what you need. As we go down the homepage, one of the most effective things I could do is call attention to the different gadgets we have and really what purpose they serve, and then we can kind of get a lot of mileage about what the system does through that. There is a global search that lives at the top, and here in the global search, it allows you to search through all of your learning information, all of your content in the library, looking through events, and even looking at user information. So you can find pretty much what you need through that search. As we go down the page, I've highlighted some of the more common gadgets that we see a lot of our customers using. One of them is the announcements. And again, you'll hear me say this several times, but we understand that in many companies, the LMS is the single platform that everybody has access to, whether it's for one-time new hire training, whether it's for once a year security awareness or sexual harassment training, or whether it's for all day, everyday learning. Oftentimes, the system is the one point that everybody can touch. So we've got a couple of communication channels, and the announcements is one of those. You can send targeted announcements to one person, you can send to an entire department or any combination of your org structure that you define, or to the entire population, and it triggers push notifications to the native mobile applications. It pushes an alert here to the home page. As you can see, you get some notifications up in the top to let you know you have unread things. So it's a great mechanism for really just catching the attention for critical information. You can also deem your announcement as high priority if you really want to add more of an exclamation point to it. You get some pink shading and red shading, and it really says kind of alert, alert, this is important. As we go further down, all of these things are configurable, whether you want them to be half blocks or whole blocks. The sequence you noticed as we first got in, it's drag and drop. So if you want your employees to be able to adjust their experience, it's super easy. But we provide recommendations and insight into what's happening from a learning perspective. Here you can see the suggested courses, which are based on my skill profile, my job, and a few other factors. We have our courses in progress for my quick access to the things that I might not have finished. A nice little to-do list if that makes sense. And then we can go down and see our latest content. Everything in the system is gated by permissions. So these blocks are all going to be very dynamic and show me only the things I have permissions to see. Here you can see the latest content that was uploaded into this particular environment that I have access to. As we go on down, we do have a calendar experience, and the calendar experience is designed to give you a collection of critical dates. We have the ability to manage, I think there's about 25 different date type things you can bring to the calendar. Each one of those can be color coded to your desire. Key dates such as due dates, certification expiration dates, line of sight to the events or the training activities that might be scheduled, whether it's virtual or in person, that you have access to register for and join. You also have the ability to connect the calendar in Schoox to whatever calendar your users are using. So it's not a corporate central IT connect this to an Exchange server. It is each employee copies the link, drops it on their calendar of choice, whether it's their iPhone calendar, a Google calendar, or something else, and all of the information is going to meet them where they are, so they always have those critical reminders. We do support traditional courses and curricula. So curricula is just that collection of courses organized in an easy to access manner. We have gamification activities within the system, allowing you to create leaderboards. Leaderboards can be brought forward on that homepage if you really want to drive some emphasis and make sure people are getting kind of bought into the gamification aspect. As a manager, we provide you some quick access to understand high level what's happening with your teams. As an employee, also same thing, quick access. We do support an onboarding to learning. I think it's important that I specify to learning. We're not talking about, in this case, the HR paperwork, but it's really after I've been realized as an employee. I've been put into the HRIS and I've gotten an account in the LMS. What are all the structured activities that I want the employee to go through? You can create these profiles by job, by geography, by any combination of elements in your org structure, and structure the time-bound journey so that it's consistent, whether it's for new hires, whether it's for promotions or transfers, to really just establish some continuity in the experience and helping people to understand what's ahead of me and where I need to go, what I need to get done. And lastly, also in the gamification, we do support creating games. Games are going to be point-based levels that are unlockable to earn awards and recognition, kind of another way to incentivize that learning experience. Quickly touching on some of the high points, the wall that I mentioned, that social experience, what you'll see here, some automated posts. Again, you can kind of dial up or down the things that you want to see here. If we hide those auto-generated posts, what we're going to now see is people posting things as if it were like on Facebook. We've got the ability to like and to comment on those posts. This is also an aggregated feed. So if I belong to multiple groups, then I will see the feeds from all of those groups come into this equation as well. So it's a nice kind of one-stop shop for all of the social and collaboration. From a user profile standpoint, a pretty robust ability to track information, build out your own education history, work history, kind of create your own little profile there. And then we can see things like my badges. I can understand my interactions in the site, kind of how I spend my time, where I'm focused on topic-wise, kind of what roles I tend to be emulating. And then we can also access our leaderboard information here as well. And we can also go much deeper into that. While I'm here, I'll also hit certificates are generated. Custom certificates can be generated for courses, curricula, all the standard learning suspects. We have a credits management experience that allows you to really track that CEU inspired experience, whether it's an internal credit program that you're building, or whether you do have people that have PMPs and PHRs and other certifications where ongoing learning activity is sort of needed to sustain. You can kind of mirror those programs in the credit management and allow the solution to help manage, track, and report on what's happening in that way. And lastly here, we do have a paid add-on that allows you to bring full e-signature into the learning experience. It's a partnership with HelloSign that allows you to drop in your documents, drop signature blocks, and other things that you would expect in e-signature experience, and those documents live resident on the employee profile once executed. Before I leave here, I also want to call attention, I mentioned the languages that are available, and I'm just going to show those here. We're constantly looking at new languages, constantly listening to what our customers are telling us and where they want us to go. And these are all included. So when we develop a new language, it gets deployed, it shows up here. And if you need it, great. So if I want my site to be converted to Spanish, all of my non-user contributed information, so all of the site level things that Schoox manages and maintains, will be converted. All of your content, all of the things that you put in will not be converted because they're yours, but you can load those things in and connect them. So if you want Spanish courses for Spanish population, you want Urdu courses for the population that speaks Urdu, it's dynamic through the user profile. Tells us kind of what their preferences are so that they get access to the right content.
Wow, nice.
From a training perspective, kind of that pure LMS piece, I think the biggest differentiator I want to call attention to in a lot of solutions that I've used personally, a lot of solutions that I monitor as part of just looking out in the competitive landscape, we see that a lot of the learning management systems tend to have a restriction on the construct of a course. It's kind of a one learning object per course type thing in a lot of solutions. And in Schoox, we think a course is really just the easiest way to organize all of the things you want to get out around a single topic. So with that unlimited number of learning objects that you can attach to a course, each of them are trackable, whether it's videos coming from somewhere on the web, it's native videos or audio clips you're uploading, it's documents. Here you can see a PDF we're tracking, blended learnings supported, whether it's an in-class or a virtual training experience, throw in a couple of quizzes for good measure, and then round it out maybe by adding an on-the-job training as well as a polling to get some feedback. With that, I do want to dive in just a little bit. So our on-the-job training experience is one in which our thought process really here is we tell you the things we need to tell you by giving you content in the course. We test you so that we understand whether or not you've retained the knowledge. And then the OJT is a mechanism that helps us really validate that knowledge was transferred, acquired, and able to be applied. I should also mention all of the things I've shown you are available through the native mobile applications, and OJT is one of the things we see used quite heavily on the mobile because it's just really easy to pull that phone out of your pocket, do an assessment of somebody against the OJT tasks that are required, and to move on about your day. Within the OJT, we support standard basic task, which is nothing more than listing the task and signing off. The employee says they're ready. It triggers a notification to the manager or trainer that it's time to go in and observe. In addition, we also support the essay style question response here. We support a kind of an upload. So if you need them to video something, do an audio clip, or even maybe build a PowerPoint presentation or build something, take a picture of something that they've done, they can upload it as part of that requirement to be assessed. And then there's also a sign off where you can physically draw your signature as a digital signature signing off on that task. Moving from the learning core, kind of transitioning into the performance side of the solution. Again, one of my favorite things that we do when you connect the dots between skills and jobs and skills and your learning in Schoox, this is what you start to unlock this dynamic path for your employees. Here, my job as a cashier says that these are the scores which are critical. If you're trying to look at the math and make sense of it, there are some things in the background that are applying weighting to the manual assessments done by my managers versus any sort of assessments that I might get through learning. But as I click on view path, it then takes me right to my individual personalized path, showing me the courses in the catalog, which are designed to target my specific skill strength and skill weakness. They're organized in order of impact. So the things at the top are going to address the bigger gaps. As you scroll down, you start to get into more of those granular, I might have a smaller gap to address. So it's deemed as maybe a lower impact. You can also, through this experience, navigate and explore other career options. So if your company subscribes to a career lattice or a career ladder framework, you can build that out in the system. And a cashier could see access to 3 or 4 other careers that you think are the next logical steps. That brings us over here now to the performance reviews, in which we can see performance reviews will show up for employees, for managers. We can invite co-planners, so kind of sharing the love with maybe other managers or contributors that need to factor into the experience. You can see here is our side-by-side view showing the manager scores, the employee scores. I can expand to see, there was a skills section, and then we decided we wanted to evaluate values, competencies, and KPIs. So we'll see each of those things come in with the custom scoring scales that you can put in, drop in the review commentary, exchange some dialogue between you and the approver, and then the employee has the option to do a digital sign off, or just a few other options we have to get to that place. But we're satisfying the needs of the traditional performance review while also planning for the future as we expect performance to evolve. Also in that vein, under the performance, we do have the goals management experience. And here we have the ability to see goal details. We can chat and collaborate with our partners on goals, whether it's our direct boss, whether it's a team goal, to really collaborate and organize our thoughts. We can build out task list on the steps we need to take, which serves as a great coaching tool between employees and managers as we think about managing goal progress and helping people get unstuck along the way. I mentioned in the presentation part that you also have the ability to associate a lot of other things so that employees are supported in their journey. You can attach files, links, and courses to help the employee navigate. If I'm in this goal and I'm stuck, these are some suggested courses that I can go and find, and I know because they're related here that they are intended to help me with this particular goal. Quickly moving through the last bits here, content management. As I mentioned, organize all your thoughts, your documents, whether it's training, whether it's other, and then use our permission structure, which I'm an admin, so I've got this opened up. I can lock down categories and subcategories based on any element of the org structure, any combination of job, org units, custom attributes tied to my profile, so that the right people see the right things and we keep that user experience very clean. Also within the content experience, you do have the ability to open up for employees to provide ratings and reviews on content as well as courses and curricula. So you understand that real-time feedback, which things are most popular, which things are offering the most value. Our collaboration space that I spoke of, again, really designed to bring together the elements of the social experience. So here you see that wall type experience happening again, but inside the group, now we can also spin up discussion threads just for the members of this group, really exchange ideas, collaborate, innovate, and help move the business forward. Through here, you can also curate content that is exclusive to the members of this group and get into badging and recognition across the group as well. And I will round us out by touching on the backside. So now you're seeing the administrator console, very, very turnkey, very intuitive. I want to spotlight some reporting insights before we close out. Reporting is often one of the biggest pain points cited in learning technology. Usually in my own practitioner time, I don't think I've ever used a system where I could get what I need out of one report. I have to join 15 reports, take them out of the system, do a lot of Excel and access data manipulation to get what I need. We've really put time and attention into the reporting engine to try and develop, again, listening to our customers, telling us what they need, what's most meaningful and valuable. We have a dashboard style reporting view, which is presented to managers and administrators. And the intention is that we give you some in-application reporting data to consume. You shouldn't have to download anything if you want to. There is an Excel export button on every page to get everything out of the system. But it's intended to consume on the web, consume through the mobile app, so you can quickly check status and understand whether it's looking at your team and overall statistics, or looking at a specific course or a specific exam, where you can dig into looking at a question level response data. Or I mentioned compliance was something that we make kind of a little bit more fun. When you're creating your courses, you identify which things are deemed as compliance. It's not perpetually set as compliant. So if you want to have a compliance course for 30 days and then you want to remove it from this view, it's just a toggle that you push on the course detail, but it allows you to collect all of the things that you're looking at from a compliance perspective at any moment in time and see a snapshot. You can always get into an individual course. So if I click into the single management training course, we're going to see that speedometer change, and we're now at a 25% compliance for that one course, and we've got some summary information to know what that means. Beyond that, there is a report builder that allows you to build custom reports using all of the different tables and data attributes available throughout the system. And then I will close us out by just bringing up on screen the business impact engine, again, just to illustrate the intention and power behind this part of the solution. So what you're looking at now in this top graph, I've pulled in my monthly revenue just to show visually what that looks like. And then we're going to go down and look at some different metrics, whether it's training completion rate, whether it's exam success rate, perhaps it's average training hours per employee. We're always trying to figure out what are the magic numbers, what are those thresholds, and how do we know if we're impacting things in the right way. So we're curious in this instance if there is a correlation between the training hours per employee and our performance as a business. We could go in and set thresholds and benchmarks, and even get into course level correlation or curriculum level correlation at the organization level, department level, or the individual employee level. I mentioned there's a lot to cover in the system, and I tried to get it done quickly. Any questions or comments as we start to close out today?
Yeah, Matthew, thank you for a great tour of your organization and the product. It's easy from a vendor solution standpoint or from a learning system selection consulting standpoint to spend hours upon hours digging into these, and I can see how we could dig into any of these pieces. But to summarize, it's been about a year-ish since I saw your application, and maybe about 3 years since I saw it the first time, the solution rather, and I can just see the pace of what you're adding into the application or the solution from a new feature standpoint to the depth of things that were there before as you expand out on that. So, as I see it, it is turned into a really mature and deep application for employee and talent management, and really working around the edges that you don't see a lot of LMS solutions try to get into, and that would be skill management and tying that to performance appraisals and tying that to goals and career development. Now, certainly there's big talent management providers that do that, but coming at it from a mid-market and companies that are greater than 500 but don't have to be hundreds of thousands, it's a really robust solution that's tying together a lot of the required pieces. The compliance itself, I say compliance not so much as in making sure that your employees are taking content, but really the whole ball of wax from organization and group management, and being able to do that on a granular basis and tie that to a lot of custom factors inside of groups or skills or jobs or roles or locations to drive that training. Seems like LMS blocking and tackling, but it's really easy to hit the wall, as you know there. And so you guys have really provided to be able to support the industries that you do, both in your primary and your secondary list of organizations are tough because of those organizational structures and the varying regulations, as you know, in different geographics and states, and even smaller locales and that all have to be managed at the same time. So seeing how you can pull all those pieces together from a learning management standpoint and then wrap that with the performance and talent management is really some fantastic progress that you've made. And on top of all that, it looks really good. It looks modern and clean and crisp in the dashboards and the content itself. So aesthetically, it looks easy to use, certainly for learners to get around and figure out what they need to do. Wrap that with your focus on customer success, and you guys seem like a viable solution for a whole bunch of employee and talent type opportunities. Well, thank you for coming out and showing us today and catching everybody up. I see I said it wrong. I'm probably the first person that ever got your company name wrong. I would say Schoox normally because of the SCH, but definitively I heard that it's the way that you were saying today, or not definitively, but almost like SXOOX, like a Schoox with an X on the front and the back. Is Is that indeed right with the double X almost?
It is, and we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we have a lot of fun with that. We're at trade shows when we're out just kind of interacting with the public at large. We like to play around with that and kind of take bets for people to pronounce our name, see how many get it right, get it wrong, because it opens the conversation. But I there's a whole story behind it. It kind of really helps set the foundation of how we got started, kind of what our intention is, which if we unpack that for just a quick second, think about the term school as it relates to education. And from our perspective, we wanted to really lean into that whole education, the idea of developing people, whether it's no matter what the form is, and then we replace that L with the X for disruption and transformation, signify our journey. So school becomes Schoox. We've heard School X, we've heard Schoox, and every variation imaginable. So we don't take ourselves too seriously there. We always enjoy the conversation.
All right, well, excellent. Well, there you have it. That's Matthew Brown, Vice President of Learning and Brand Success over at Schoox. I'll try to say everything like that from now on. Really impressed, guys. Keep up the good work over there. And yeah, thanks for getting us updated. We look forward to the next update coming soon, I'm sure. Have a great day, everyone. And thank you again, Matt.